Okay, before we can begin drawing and creating our outline around the features of the face with our brush tool, we're going to bring in a specific brush that's available on the graphics drive. To do this, we go to File, Open. We're going to find the graphics drive, Computer Art folder, and there's a brush called inkingbrush.ai. We'll click on it and open it up. This brush has a very, very thin point starting on the one corner, dragging it across. You see how it gets fatter and thicker in the middle, and then again skinny down towards the end. This will create a really, really nice thin to thick to thin line again, especially when you are working with the Wacom pad and the tablet. In order to get this brush to be used inside of our program, what we're going to do is click on it with the selection tool, drag, drop it up towards the tab of the project that you're working on, and then drag back down. You can see it change to a white arrowhead and let go. The brush now comes in on layer 6. All the other layers were locked, and I can now begin to work with this. I'm going to zoom out just for a second, take this with the move tool and just drag it off to the side. I'll zoom back up, hold down the space bar, drag back over, and again, working on layer 6, we're going to go ahead and switch to the brush, and then make sure over here in this area that we go find the actual brush that we're going to be working with. You can do a simple test over here along the side and see if it actually is going to work. We want to make sure before we start to do any kind of brush work that we are working with not a fill but just a stroke. So we're going to switch these. We want to switch these and have a black outline for the stroke and have zero fill, which is the red line going through. Okay, we're set up. We have our stroke color set to black, no fill. We're working in what is labeled layer 6. The photograph again is layer 5. I would suggest to just take your pen and work with the Wacom tablet to maybe work on the side here to just start to make some marks and see how this brush is going to look as you work with it. Those you can go back and take out. Just Control Z on the keyboard and getting rid of that. You can adjust the stroke weight. So if I adjust that and go to 0.5 and make a mark, you can see how thin and thick this particular brush is. If I decide to change this to a 1, you can see and notice the difference. You could also use your tool, select the actual path that you've created, and after you make it, you can actually go back and change the weight to actually whatever you want. So there's no need to delete it and redraw it. You can always go back and adjust those brush strokes later. I'm going to go ahead and start this at the 0.5 weight, and I'm just going to kind of go in and start to draw, and we'll start to see what we can get. Very carefully, but also kind of loose, making marks. If you decide you don't like one, I think we should go all the way along the nose here and adjust these as well. They can be adjusted with the solid arrowhead tool. You can actually go to the points and adjust these particular points just a little bit if you need to, or obviously simply redraw if you would like as well. Zooming in really definitely helps to being able to see it super large on the screen. You have much more control. Again, marks that are made that you don't like, go back, take out. Get one that works here. Maybe the opening of the mouth. Won't spend a ton of time getting in here, but you can also go and start to make different areas in the eye. We'll switch over just so you can see one that's obviously much more complete at this particular point. And changing the weight, working with the brush stroke, and building up the layer, going back over and over and over again, kind of just filling in this real heavy area of black where the shadows are in her hair. But you can kind of, again, zoom in and see this without the photograph below. Give you a general idea on what it's starting to look like as you are progressing and putting this together. This will definitely take some time to achieve the look that you're after, getting the details around the eyes, the nose, the mouth, filling in details around the hair. Keep it loose, and again, make adjustments to the actual stroke weight of your line that you're working with. Again, you can do that before you begin. You can actually click on one and then make adjustments after the fact as well to change the weight of the thickness of the line. One thing that you might want to try and focus on specifically with the eyes is to go in and add a solid ellipse tool filled with black in the center of the eye, and then also one right on top of that in white for the highlight or the catch light in the person's eye. So in order to do this, what you would do is just simply hold the shift key as you're making this tool. We will switch it and make it a solid fill. And then if we need to, we can click off of that, go back to that tool, hold the shift key again. Again, to create a perfect circle, you'll hold the shift key. And in this case, we're going to go ahead and just go down to the swatches and fill it with white. This is a great way to be able to go back into the eye and add the little details that we possibly might need to make them stand out. Grab those and delete it. So again, here it is in this particular state. We can actually turn off the layers of the color that were done previous so that we can see just the line work. Can turn that back on. In this particular example, I also incorporated a separate hair layer because this particular young lady had a very, very vivid hair color that I decided to go back and put in for the example. This was also done with the brush tool at larger sizes, working with various colors to match the hair color. One last thing that we'll take a look at next will be to be able to take this back into the Photoshop program, work with a pattern to be able to incorporate a pattern, a dot pattern inside of the actual color areas of the face. So we'll do that in the next video. That'll wrap us up.